Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Win the Hour, Win the Day. Today we are with Tracy Beavers. Tracy Beavers is in the house, and we are going to talk to Tracy about sales. She is a sought after sales coach, and she's going to talk to us about things that I think we all do. That's neglecting the follow up. And listen, I've got my excuses why I don't follow up. So let's see if they pan out with Tracy. Welcome to the show, Tracy.
Thank you so much, Chris. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, good. We're going to have some fun. Okay. Sales. Look,
Yes.
I love sales. I'm comfortable with sales. I get excited when I get a sales call. Like that makes my week. Oh, I got a couple sales calls this week. Okay. So it's my jam. I love doing it. However, I don't follow up. I don't. I think
Okay.
I'm really of the mind that if I have to convince you to work with me, we're not starting off into a good situation. Now, maybe the nature of my work is different, but I'm really about, I want you to be hungry. I don't want to be carrying the weight. I really want you, if you're not interested now, it's like, to me, okay, here's my thing. It's
Right.
like trying to convince somebody to go out on a date with you. Like if I can't convince you, if you're not excited on day one, then
Right.
we're not going to last 6 weeks in. Like I drug you to that first date kicking and screaming. And now I'm wondering why it's petering out a month later. That's how I feel about it. But I know it goes against everything that, is out there.
Absolutely.
So tell me what I'm doing wrong.
So, first of all, the word sales, people go, ew. And so
Okay.
what cracks me up is nobody thinks they are a salesperson, or they don't want to be
Right.
labeled a sales. Okay, we're all in sales. Let's just get
Right.
that out there.
Yeah.
But just like you say, everybody that's in business or sales wants clients that are warmed up, ready to go with their wallet out. And all you got to do is say, here's what I can do for you. Here's my price. And they sign up and everybody's happy. But that's
Okay.
not the way it works. People, people want to do business. And you've heard this a million times with people that they know, like, and trust.
Correct.
And that takes building an actual relationship and being a human being. We
Right.
can't, like in your analogy of dating, we can't walk into the bar, sit down next to somebody and look at them and go, hey, want to get married?
I love that you had me in a bar. I love that we started right off in the bar, not
Right.
a coffee shop. Come on,
No,
man.
we're going straight to the
Stay
bar.
out past dark. Don't put your pajamas on. Go to a
Right.
bar. Okay.
But I can't
All
just
right.
ask you to marry me the minute I meet you, because you're like, who are you, you lunatic? I don't even know you.
Okay. So right off the bat, I think what I'm doing is, as soon as somebody says follow up, I reject that because I think I've met with you.
Right.
If you're not interested, I'm not doing a big old campaign of follow up. But what you're saying is really the follow up can come before the sales call. It's building that know, like, and trust. So the follow up is from that first contact.
Yes, it is. It's from the very
Okay.
first contact. So you meet somebody at a networking event and you've had a great conversation. Maybe it's about business, maybe it's not. Doesn't always have to be. And you know that you want to follow up with that person. You want to see, for me, networking is exciting because I want to see where the people I meet are going to fit into my life. Everybody has a space in my life. It doesn't always have to be about business.
Right.
Here's the fun part about networking is you never know if the next person that you meet is going to be the person that is pivotal to your success. It's like
Right.
that old Microsoft Minesweeper game that we all played at work when our employers thought we were working. And
Okay.
the little square, and you click on the
Okay.
squares, and the object is to clear the board. And sometimes you're clicking and it's just clicking. And then sometimes you click on a mine and it blows open several spaces. And it's like networking. The next person you meet could be the person who just introduces you to this person, introduces you to that person. And it's
Okay.
building that relationship and them getting to know you so that they know they like you and they want to stay in contact with you. And the follow-up really is just the furthering of the relationship.
Okay, so that's a valuable lesson that I learned painfully years ago. And here's the problem. A lot of you guys out there know I'm all about, building your win team and what is next team. And I'm all about super toolkits and being more efficient and all that stuff. So that's great.
Right.
So many years ago when I wasn't like that in the beginning, and I was going like the first 2 years of my business without sleep, which did not make me a charming person. Like I'm a recovering
Right.
rushaholic, right? So everything's rush, 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 right? Like trying to outrace time. It was just nuts. And, you know, it was always like, go, go, go. And people even would say, I talk so quickly. And I'd think, you need to listen faster, like get out of my way.
Right.
So what would happen is anything that wasn't work was an interruption from work. And so I really saw painfully that I let meaningful relationships die, frankly, because there was no reason for me to call them. There was no reason for me to follow up. Like we didn't. So then all of a sudden, and now, you know, later they're these big, huge, important people. And I don't mean that in a horrible way, but you know, I did like them and I would have liked to enjoy their journey and I would have liked to stay connected, but I didn't have a reason to reach out to them. Right. So the relationship melted away, where I learned that now is like, okay, I'm having this wonderful opportunity. I meet these fantastic people through the podcast and being on shows. Yeah. So what I learned quickly is, I was meeting way more people than I ever had before. But if I wasn't careful, I would be rotating relationships instead of sustaining them. Yes. Right. Mm-hmm. And I had dropped the ball on that years earlier, where all of a sudden you're just so busy working evenings, weekends, like a crazy person. And then you realize, you haven't talked to that business connection in 2 years, which does not take long to pass. So where do those are two extremes. What do you suggest? How do we navigate that?
So I navigate it with a very foolproof, easy system. And it's called, you've heard of a CRM system, customer retention management. Now, what I teach my clients is the best CRM system for you is the one you're going to use. So I don't care if it is a Rolodex with pieces of paper in it, and index cards in a shoebox, or if it's an Excel spreadsheet, or if it's one of those monthly paid subscriptions that you see on the internet. Salesforce is one, 17 Hats. There's one called Doe. And there's a lot of them that are some of them are free. Some of them are very low price point, and some of them are very industry specific, which is cool. For somebody who's in a general sales role at a company, Salesforce is a good option, especially if they're a franchise owner. Someone who's in network marketing might use one called Doe. Penny is another one.
So let's go with the entrepreneur that listens, you guys out there, small business entrepreneurs. So you're saying, there's free stuff out there, but again, guys, I'm all about this. Don't now start, this is the thing before the thing and back up. So you could do something as simple as a spreadsheet, Absolutely. Which by the way, is what I currently use. Because in that, you know what I do? I also like to have a picture of the person, because I'm meeting so many people. And if I don't have the picture, here's the story. I had somebody who's on the podcast, fantastic person. And we were chatting. And even now people always say, it's great. You got high energy and stuff. Well, that's great till you try to go to sleep, right? Mind's racing and stuff. So we started talking and she was telling me about weighted blankets. It had changed her life. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a try, but whatever. And it really, truly was the most significant thing I'd ever done. Weighted blankets. She gave me a brand name, just get this name, whatever. So I sent an email like a month later, said, I can't believe this is working. Oh my gosh, I have much deeper sleep. I went on, and I sent the email. I confused her with somebody else who kindly replied and said, she had been on the show too. So she kindly replied and said, that's wonderful, Chris. I'm so glad to hear that you're sleeping well. I don't know what you're talking about, but I do appreciate you sharing this with me.
Right. So I thought, you and your blanket will be very happy together.
I'm really glad you got a new blanket. I sounded like I was 5 in kindergarten. So I realized, already, because I can see why I got them confused. They're both in similar topics. Frankly, they looked a little bit alike as well. I get it. I laughed. We had a joke about it, but it doesn't take long before that happens. Right.
Exactly.
So we want to have some ability to follow up with clarity of who these people are. Exactly. Okay. Yeah. And then what do we do?
So you want to put everything. Okay. So first of all, a CRM system, you want at a minimum their name, cell phone number, and email, because a lot of us are relying on social media, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, DMs, and all that. That is not a good strategy. No. If that disappeared tomorrow, we've got to go back to old school and have all that contact information so we don't lose contact. And this is not only people that you meet in networking events, this is your best client. You do not want your best client to go without a touch from you, because they will move on to somebody else. So as business owners, we have to love on the ones we've got while we're trying to attract new ones into our business. Because if you don't love on the ones that you've got, they're going to go out the back door really quietly. And then all you've got is...
That's a Southern thing. Everybody write that down. Love on the ones you got. Okay.
Love on the ones you got. Love's the one you're with. There's a song about that.
Yeah, so, that's a business country song. Love on the ones you got. Okay.
Love on the ones you got. So in your example, you could have very easily put her name, and the date of your conversation is important. Yeah. Where you met that person is important. The fact that she recommended a weighted blanket, that's important. It seems silly, but it's important because then your brain will go, oh,
right.
And she was wearing a blue shirt and we talked about this, and she's got a dog named, such and such. And it helps you have a genuine contact with that person. You genuinely can email her and go, hey, that blanket's amazing, and know that you've got the right person. Or, hey, how's your dog? Or, hey, you mentioned your grandmother's been sick. We've got to be human beings. And the more information you can put in there, the less you have to remember.
Yeah. And 100%, because I do that now. So that's one of the columns is something personal about them. Like their 2-year-old just had a birthday, and you're right. It will anchor it. I'll remember it. But otherwise without it, I personally would have no confidence. So I'd kind of like sketch over subjects, like hope you and your family are doing well, because I don't remember which person, like I'm not 100% if you have a 2-year-old or a 20-year-old. Right.
And that doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel good to send a generic.
It's worthless. Yeah. No, it doesn't count, right? So you're absolutely right. That really, truly does matter. Okay. So spell it out. And this stuff, listen, this sounds like so basic common sense, but we all get so busy that you forget it. And especially, listen, every once in a while, I get a business contact that just somehow, but through the grapevine, we hear their whole Facebook has been wiped out, and they've got kids and weddings and all their contacts, and they're just, and you know what, aside from the fact, one time in the beginning, I got kicked out of Instagram. I mean, of course you got to love these platforms, because I have no idea why. Like we were only on it in the beginning, like 6 months. Right. There was nothing I could have done. I still don't have a following that's going to make an impact or commit a crime. Right. But what happens is too, aside from that, you lose those contacts, you do feel a little beat up. Like the world just said, you don't matter. We just wiped you out. We killed you on Facebook. You're dead to us. Right. And I know with Instagram, I thought, it took me about 6 months before I went back, because I thought, you dumped me, I don't care. But then I realized that Instagram wasn't taking it as hard as I had taken it. So I had to move.
Unfortunately, no.
No, they had moved on quite nicely without me. So, but it does happen all the time with people with really significant accounts. So, not only having this email list, but also knowing who that then you could reach out to these people personally if you needed to. Yes. So this is kind of like, sometimes you think it's the basic, but boy, is it embarrassing when someone goes over these basics with you after you drop the ball.
It is simple. Yeah. It is simple. It is basic. I think it's easy, truly. Yeah. If you get it and you get in the habit of it, every time you go out and you come home with business cards, if you don't do something with those, then you might as well have not gone to the event.
100%.
Then what's the point of being there? Right. I was talking to a real estate agent not too long ago, and this was heartbreaking. She's been in the business 5 years, and she is very productive. She's a high producer. Do you know she had not kept any contacts for the last 5 years of all the people that came through her open houses? And I was like, my jaw dropped, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I thought in my mind, I didn't say this to her because I didn't want her to cry, but I was like, how much more of a producer could you have been and gotten there faster if you had kept all of the names of the potential buyers and your sellers and loved on them and the other real estate agents that you meet and all of that? I mean, it's just, it just hurt my heart.
My first instinct was thinking, okay, I went right to judgment. I'm sorry. I was thinking, what the heck?
Right.
But then on the other hand, if I stopped for a moment, I thought, case by case scenario, she probably thought, well, they weren't buying, or they said they weren't in the area. Right. So she figured at the time, case by case scenario, there wasn't a real solid lead. But what she could have been building was a community.
Yes. And here's the thing, you never know when someone is going to be ready to purchase, and you want to stay top of mind. So let's say somebody walked through that open house and they were just kicking tires. They were looky-loos, just checking it out. Okay. You never know what's going to happen in somebody's life tomorrow.
Right.
Maybe that next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, they got a promotion and were moving and they needed to sell their house all of a sudden. Maybe they had all of a sudden had a parent that needed to move in with them. You never know what's going to happen. And so on the face of it, while it looks like, as you're saying, she's probably thinking, oh, they're not interested. She is making up their mind for them based on assumption, not based on fact. And so that person could have been one of her clients and then been so happy, referred her to 5 other people who could have referred her. You know, that old shampoo commercial? You tell 2 friends and you tell 2 friends and you tell, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. So she made assumptions and she decided, and it little by little is how it happened. And 5 years pass and she's like, oh my gosh, that's 5 years of stuff.
Yeah. Cause you don't think at the time you just try, this is all the foundation of what we do. We're all about creating your win team, your what is next team. And, you know, I'm all about stopping entrepreneurs from working so hard.
Yes.
But what happens is you get caught up in this week bleeds into next week, into next month. And all of a sudden there goes another year. Like I'm certain we slide from January to March and then you blink twice, it's summer. And September to December, I know is 3 weeks long, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So what happens is all of a sudden you think, oh, I'm like, I did too. Like I let some significant, like when I was coming up, there's some really heavy influencers that I was hanging out and we were brainstorming business ideas. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, you're, you know, like, we should have stayed in contact, not just for my own purpose and vanity. And I could have had, you know, been still connected, but it would have been really fun to share that journey with them. And I just got busy and thought we would bump into each other when we were both a little bit less busy. Right. So it's really about staying connected. All right. It's about having that systematized so it's effective, so you can lean into it.
Right. Making it a habit.
Yeah. So making it a habit. So what does that habit look like? Like, is it just, you know, the typical newsletter stuff? What are you talking?
Making it a habit of using the system is what I meant.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay. So for me, my habit is daily. I put in the contacts that I've met that day or that I've had a conversation with. Everything goes in there. It takes literally 2 minutes.
Okay.
Like if you're in my CRM system, I'm going to log in there. I'm going to say, Chris Ward, excellent podcast today. And it'll log the date because I'm using a software system.
Isn't that generous of her? I'll give you a Southern thing. Isn't she wonderful? Like sweet tea. All right. Go ahead.
Special. And so then if you said to me, and if it was a pre-interview for a podcast and you said to me, okay, I'm going to get back with you in a couple of weeks. We're jam-packed for April, blah, 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 whatever the conversation. I'm like, okay, I know in 2 weeks, I need to be hearing from Chris because I want to be on her podcast. So I'm going to diary that forward for 2 weeks.
Right.
And so anybody that's new, they get entered in as a prospect or just a contact. And then every day I pull that up. It's part of my morning routine before my first client appointment, before people start to get a hold of me with phone calls and emails and all the things. It's part of what I do every morning. I look and see who needs a touch from me today. Who have I not forgotten about, but who do I need to go back to? And I'm shocked. Sometimes I'm like, wow, has it really been, you know, like you'll think I just talked to that person. And then you look and the date is from February and you're like, wow, has it really been since February since I talked to that person?
Right.
It's just like you're saying, time flies and so fast. The other thing that you can do is this, and this is going to sound terrible, but we are all so busy. We cannot rely on our memory. Some of my friends are in my system because I want to be sure I'm checking in on them regularly because I want to stay together and stay in touch. Because just like you're saying, out of sight, out of mind.
I put my own birthday on my calendar because one year it was like on a Tuesday and my husband had these plans and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm booked. I didn't know. I didn't recognize that day. So we had to move a bunch of appointments. So I had to block it off for the next year going, okay, I have a birthday and it's not about me. Other people might want to do something. Okay. So we have on our spreadsheet, what we do is we'll put in also we'll nurture that or make sure we stay in contact with them on social media as well. So we make sure that we've liked or connected with them, engaged on their choice of platform. Right. So just having that there, that there's some, as you say, you've touched them in some way. All right. Yep. And just keep nurturing the community.
Yes.
Okay.
In a human, warm, relational way.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because if all we say is buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff.
No.
That's sleazy, salesy. We don't want to do that.
No.
Yeah. So it's all about building those relationships. That's what it
Okay.
comes back to. And one of the ways you use this CRM system as a tool to help you do that. So that you can free up all that brain space to think about something else. Because you don't want to have to walk around remembering all your contacts and, when you're going to follow up with them and all that.
No, 100%. And you know what, like going back to my date, a dating example, you can't call somebody, go out and date and have a good time and then check in with them 6 weeks later. Like, yeah, you ran out of things did you run to the bottom of your list and start over? Like we're not doing this, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you can't.
So you have to keep, you want to build these connections. And like to my earlier point, I definitely don't want to be rotating relationships. That's useless, right? All right. So tell us, these are some really simple but profound, easily lost in your day-to-day activities, because we're always about, we all have this deadline. Like right now we're working really hard on this new masterclass that we're going to be doing in our community, our Facebook community, because anyways, it's phenomenal. We're putting a lot of work into that. That's our big focus right now. But when my head surfaces from that in a couple of weeks, all of a sudden it'll be the next thing, right? That we'll call your win team. What is next? So you do get lost. So tell us more of, where you feel we're dropping the ball in this area.
Well, that realtor example, she wasn't using the system at all. That's a huge fail right there.
Yeah.
And then we do drop the ball when we don't use it consistently, just like I talked about. It needs to be part of your routine. It needs to go on your planner. If it's not on my planner and it's not written down, it's not going to happen because I'm not going to remember it.
What are we reaching out to them for? Like, we don't want it to feel forced.
No.
And if we don't have anything to say, and, are we going to check in and do, hey, last time we talked, it was 2-year-old's birthday. How was that? Like that, I'm not a big fan of small talk either.
No, not at all. You do want to have a genuine reason. Obviously, if it's someone you've met casually, one thing you could do is maybe instead of reaching out or directly to that person, as you're saying, you friended them on Facebook or Instagram on some way on social media, you could just go kind of see what they're up to, like a few things, comment on a few things, just so they see your name again.
Okay, so that counts.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yes. And actually, that's almost better than continuing to text them or email them or call them or whatever. That can get you want to think of a way. Here's another example. So when I go to a networking event, or let's say I have lunch with someone who I really want to stay in contact with just as a business person, because I could do some mentoring with them. They could do some mentoring with me, just a great collaboration partner. I'm going to send them a thank you note.
Right.
That counts as a touch.
Okay.
And they're going to get that a few days after we've met. And it's going to keep me top of mind. And then if I don't have a reason to reach out directly, I'm going to friend them on Facebook, and I'm just going to be their friend.
Yeah.
Hey, that 2-year-old birthday party looked amazing. Cute kid, whatever you want to comment. Yeah. But yeah, it all counts.
I think for a while, this is an interesting story. It came up recently. So a good 10 years ago when, I went virtual long before anybody else. Even if they were in my local community, I was doing appointments on Skype because they could see my computer. It was just time efficient instead of driving around, even if it took 10 minutes, right? But so I remember, but when there'd be people in the local community that something happened. So this gentleman had taken over, whatever the eyewear store he had, and he was new to the business community. So I sent him a postcard, welcome to the community, blah, 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 for my business. Yeah. And my mom was in there just the other day to get a pair of glasses. And he said, oh, it's my anniversary. I've been doing this for 11 years. And he took her over and he showed her, he said, this was the first postcard I got.
Yeah.
Opened up, and it's from Chris. Now, here's the thing. I stopped doing that because all of a sudden everything was so virtual. I felt silly asking for people for their address. Like, oh, can I send your address? Right. So I stopped doing it. But then I realized if I ask somebody for their address, they'll give me their address. And even if it's just a postcard, then maybe I send them 3 postcards a year. But people did used to go on about these postcards, like as if I don't know, hand stitched it. And it was because it wasn't email, because email is just more work. How many emails do I have to plow through?
No, not only that, your email is going to go into their junk folder.
Right. But he's kept that card all these years. Yeah. So my hesitancy was asking for their email, the regular snail mail address, but it's not such a big deal. Ask for it, move on.
It's really not.
Okay.
And you can make it less awkward. Sometimes I'll say, like, if the look on their face is like, what? Stalker? I'm like, okay, I'm Southern. I'm going to send you a thank you note. I'm just letting you know,
Right. Okay.
or there is a way to find them an address that might be more appropriate. Do you know where they work?
But so many see a lot of even before all this craziness in the world, 80% of them would have a home office, right? Because then I didn't want to ask them for their address, but I do find now I just ask people and they give it. So I don't know if I'm just following into what I tell my clients not to do, like, oh, here's your distraction. Here's your reason. Here's the excuse for not following through on something. So, okay, ask for their address.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
When they give you their business card, if there's not an address on there, you could simply say, oh, hey, and you've got the card and you're writing, hey, I just want to make sure, can I get your address? Do you have a PO box or anything like that? That's a little bit more, relaxed.
Yeah, it's been feels like 100 years since I got a business card because I've been virtual for a really long time.
I understand.
So my clients are around the world. I don't even have business cards anymore. So, but the point you made is a valid one. Okay, so we've got a couple minutes left. These are really profound but simple things to do. And what it is really impacting is your we always say your networking is your net worth. So that's a big thing. What's the final thing you want people to take away with today as far as the importance of all this?
Oh gosh, I would say anyone that is looking to truly be successful in sales and drive revenue, you've got to build relationships.
Right.
And using this simple tool is one of the ways that you can effectively do that and be just a genuinely nice person, making sure that you've got the notes on your conversation. Because if you follow up with somebody and you can't remember what they told you, that's not okay. I've had people follow up with me and literally I'm like, did you not remember that, whatever products they were selling or whatever, do you not remember anything that I told you? Because I don't like blue. I like this, or no, I don't, you know what I mean? And so it takes all the guesswork out of it and it gives you a solid place to jump off of, to build those relationships and gain more revenue, which is, at the end of the day, what we all want is to have more success and less overwhelm and less worry and just more energy, because you free up all that brain space. You can go spin a different plate.
Yeah. And you really are. The community is everything, because the irony of that is we've all done this. Then you leave that relationship, the one off, and you go and try to get a bunch of likes on Facebook from people. You know what I mean? Like you're no, I know you want to build a relationship with me, but I'm over here trying to get attention from people that have never met me and we don't know what this attention means, but I'm trained to jump through these hoops and get a bunch of likes. So it really is kind of upside down.
It is. Yeah. Those vanity numbers don't mean anything anyway.
No. We've all learned that by now. Yeah. Unless, of course, they treat you as dead and cut you completely off, then it is upsetting. Yeah. Oh, okay, Tracy, where is the best place for people to find you and get more of your brilliance?
I am on tracybeavers.com. That's my website. I'm on Facebook, Tracy L. Beavers. And I also, if you'll go to my website, I have a freebie that your listeners can grab. And it's super easy to find. It's one of the biggest buttons at the top. And it is a tips on how to create your own referral machine by diving deeper with the clients that you have. Okay. Just like we're talking about, building relationships, diving deeper with the clients that you have so that they love you so much they can't help but refer you.
All right. We all want that. It's going to be in the show notes, guys. And right after this, I'll head over there myself and check it out for you. But grab one as soon as you can. Tracy, thank you very much. We really appreciate you. It was lots of fun. Yeah. And everyone else, we'll see you in the next episode.